How's it going, guys? It's your boy Mike from Seattle, and today I'm going to be doing a video where I live negotiate with a guy I'm trying to do seller financing with. So for my fourth rental property, I've been working on this one for a while. Seller financing is how we're doing it, but he has gone back and forth on the terms. He's even tried to pull one over on me, though. My mentor, who bought 4 houses at this point and has 5 more under contract, tipped me off to what he was doing. And I'm going to go ahead and work with him on what he wanted to do was not essentially give me the security deposit for the tenant who's already there. He wanted to keep that to himself, and I called him on it, and he said, fine, I'll reduce the purchase price of the property by the amount of the security deposit. Then I still have to come up with it, but the price is down. Whatever. I'm sure this will come out in the phone call. I'm not sure if they're going to pick up. I'm going to give it a shot. Up until now, my property manager, Vicky, has been doing all of the talking back and forth with them. And I finally asked my mentor, who spoke to him personally, the guy who's selling to me, or his office, I asked if I could get their phone number. So I'm going to give a phone call to talk about some of the issues that I'm seeing. We were supposed to do a 15-year fixed rate at 4.9% with 20% down. Purchase price of the house is $34,900. Now, if he reduces it by the amount that is the security deposit of $750, my purchase price becomes $34,150. But for whatever reason, in the second version of the contract I got, he has not reduced the price like I was told he would. He increased the amount down from 20% to 25%, and he pushed the closing date all the way to December 1st instead of November 1st. Today is October 8th, 2020. He's pushed the closing date back an additional month. In the original contract, I was going to be responsible for the November 10th taxes that are the last 6 months of taxes, which kind of sucks, but whatever. I'll just do it anyways because I want this property. But now, he's pushing the closing all the way to December 1st, which if he would like to do, that's fine with me, no problem, so long as the property is in the same condition when I buy it, or when we close on it, as to what we're negotiating now. But he's also going to have to pay those taxes. I'm not going to pay taxes for a property that I don't even own yet when he's picking up that month of rent for November, and currently it's rented at $750 a month. All right, I'm going to give a call, and we'll see if they answer.
Thank you for calling me. Can I help you?
Hi, my name is Mike Newton. I'm looking to speak with Michelle.
Sure. She is actually on the other line right now. Can I take a message?
Okay, so I'm just going to sit right here and watch highlights from last night's vice presidential debate, and then when my phone rings, I'll click record on the camera, and hopefully we jump right back into it. Hello, this is Mike.
Hey, it's Michelle returning your phone call.
Hi, Michelle. How you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Good. Hey, I'm calling because I'm trying to buy 3731 Washington Street from or your guys' company, and my property manager, Vicky, has been communicating with you guys. I'm sure she's probably spoken with you at some point. Am I right about that?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So I had gotten a contract signed by Mr. probably 2.5, 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
And then I had one question about the contract, and the question was the security deposit for the existing tenant. And then I had been told that his plan was just to reduce the purchase price of the property by the amount of the security deposit. I said no problem. And then I was waiting for my property manager to get me the new version of the contract. And I got that day before yesterday. And the new version of the contract, I was told you guys wanted to switch to like a land contract that wasn't open-ended, which I don't have a problem with. But there was a couple changes that I was concerned about. So the first one was the security deposit of $750 was not deducted from the purchase price.
Okay.
And then number 2, throughout all the talks back and forth over the last couple months, we talked about 20% down, 15 years, 4.9% interest. On this new contract, I'm not sure if it was a typo, but it says 25% down. And then the closing was pushed from the 1st of November to the 1st of December.
Why?
I'm not sure. That's just what the contract that I was given. I'm not sure if this happened, if you guys did this, or did my...
Okay, no. I personally haven't seen the contract.
Okay.
I've been working with Mr. directly with that.
Okay.
But I am going to find out, and we'll get this cared for sure. And there's no need to wait until December if we can get this done beforehand.
Right, especially, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. There was a line in the first contract that said I would be responsible for November taxes, which I agreed to. I'll pay the last 6 months of taxes. I just want to make sure I close on it so I can get November's rent, close on it November 1st. So my only question is if he wants to transfer me to security deposit, no problem. Or if he wants to reduce the price by the security deposit, I don't mind. Either way is fine with me. Second, and then the only other major issue was, I don't know if it was just a typo, but originally we'd talked about 20% down.
20%, sure, and that's what we've been discussing as well. So I'm not sure where that came from. I will certainly find out and give you a call back as long as I can get in touch with Mr.
No, I appreciate it. Don't mean to bother you near the end of your day. And call me back anytime.
Yes, sir, will do.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Well, good. So hopefully that was, quickly going to be taken care of here. We'll see. So now here's the interesting thing, and I don't mean to badmouth somebody who can't defend himself, because I'm speaking obviously with this company and I'm speaking based on my experiences. So my mentor, Mark, who I've mentioned on the channel many times before, is buying a total of 9 houses from this individual. I'm buying hopefully 2. A few other investors in our group, Mark's kid, Zach, is looking at potentially picking up 1 or 2. Anyways, what Mark said to me was when he first looked at the contract that he was giving, he noticed that the security deposits weren't transferable. And he was like, wait a minute, hold on, what's going on here? I'm picking up like 9 houses from you. That's a lot of money in security deposits because they're all rented already. They're all currently occupied. And so he gave me the heads up, hey, make sure you read through that contract and see what it says. So as I read through the first version of the contract, let me find the actual line for you right here. Okay, buyer acknowledges that damage deposits will not transfer. Now that's an interesting way to phrase it, right? Because when you think about it, obviously that describes a security deposit, but if I was writing this contract in the interest of being as open and honest and not trying to, and I'm not saying that's what he did, I'm just saying I would want to make sure that someone was aware, hey, there's a tenant in it. The tenant paid a security deposit, which is due back to the tenant upon them moving out, minus whatever costs to repair the property, okay, right? And, we could make a video for days about landlords that steal that security deposit, which I'm against. My tenant who moved out of my first unit, I gave her 100% of her deposit back, which was $1,600. So I want to give this money back to the tenant, especially if they leave me a property in good shape, but I don't want it to come out of my pocket, right? I mean, there's a deposit that was made already to him. I need that money. Now, why would he not want to just be forthcoming and just give the money straight over? He has 500 houses and he's trying to sell them off in large groups. He's got about 50 of them on an Excel spreadsheet that we've been looking at and buying from, and I assume other people are buying as well. Now, if he has taken, and I'm not saying he has, I'm just saying it's possible for a landlord to have taken those deposits and instead of hold on to them in the interest of the tenant, just write it off as we'll figure out a way to get this later. And now he used it for some other investment. Well, that means that as he starts to sell all these off, he has to raise enough cash to give all those deposits to the new owners. So, very cleverly having me sign this says, yeah, I acknowledge damage deposits will not, I don't know, whatever that means, right? But if Mark hadn't said, ask a question, and then of course I asked a question, I may have missed it. So I have no problem with them reducing the purchase price and then I'll come up with the money myself. That's not an issue. Or they can give me the money. I don't care. I just want to make sure that I'm not missing out on $750. And then again, I assume, and as you heard here, the woman I was speaking to, I would guess that maybe it was just a typo. The 20 to 25% issue was probably just a typo. And then the closing pushed to December 1st. I have no clue why that would happen. This individual I'm buying the house from, Joe, was very adamant that you would be paying, I would, and my mentor and other people would be paying taxes. Now, the way the taxes work, you pay taxes twice a year. You pay May through November's taxes on November 10th, and you pay November through May's taxes, I assume, on May 10th, right? So if I took ownership of this property November 1st, I would pay the November taxes for the last 6 months I didn't even own it. Which you might say, well, why you're doing that? Well, it's a negotiate, whatever. I said yes to it because it's going to only be a couple $100. I don't really care. I'd rather get the property. But I would at least be getting November's rent of $750. Now, if I'm not going to even get that rent, and we're going to push it to December 1st, so I'm not getting that month's worth of rent, first of all, how can I pay the taxes for a property that I don't own? the taxes are due on the 10th, I won't acquire it till the 1st of December. So if he wants to pay them, that's fine. If he wants to delay closing, I don't mind. But let's get that written into a contract so that I'm not on the hook for something. And if he does want me to pay these taxes, no problem. We'd agreed to that already. I'll stand by my early agreement. But can we then at least make sure we close on this November 1st so I can pick up the $750 that month? All right, guys, so back on the topic of this negotiating the seller finance. It's been a few weeks. Right now, it's October 31st. I've already gone through the rest of the negotiation, but I wanted to actually explain to you what happened when I sent that other message to where I'm at now. So after I hung up that phone call, my property manager worked with Mr. Wittig personally. They talked back and forth, and then she sent me this on October 14th. So 6 days later, I get a message from her that says, I just talked to Joe, and he's saying he's going to give you 20% down. That's what I wanted. He wants me to pay the November taxes, but he wants to charge a 5.25% interest rate. And when I buy my third house, he'll drop all rates for all houses moving forward to 4.9%. He doesn't want to prorate any rent for October if we close before the end of the month. Right, so we'd already talked about a 4.9% interest rate, but again, he's trying to figure out how to make a little bit more money. My mentor warned me about this and to be tough with him. My property manager follows up with me. I do realize that him changing things can be frustrating, but the other houses in $10,000 to $20,000 more. It's still a decent price for the house. The payment difference would only be $7 a month and about $1,200 or more over the life of the mortgage. I know it's frustrating. I'm super frustrated, but I don't want the frustration to make you, me, miss out on a good deal. Yeah, my property manager is 100% right about that. The difference between a 4.9 to a 5.25% interest rate on a $34,000 mortgage, which really, again, I'm putting 20% down, so like a $25,000 mortgage, is almost completely negligible, right? It almost doesn't exist. So we're really splitting hairs here. But I told her, hold on, I'm going to send him a message because this isn't right. We have already agreed to different terms. And sometimes, you know, if you know anything about negotiation, you've got to be willing to walk away and just straight up leave. And that's what I did in this case. I just put it all on the table. And I'll go ahead and read you what I wrote him. The nice thing about my mentor and the group of people that I invest with is I actually, before I sent him the email, I put it in my little mentorship group and asked them for their thoughts if they thought it was too harsh or too rude or too wishy-washy, and they gave me their opinions. But really quickly, let me go ahead and pull up the email and I'll read it to you word for word exactly what I sent to his company. Okay, now I don't want to have to bore you guys by reading the entire email, but just in the interest of being transparent and trying to show you, the whole point of this channel is to demonstrate actually what I'm doing, what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling, and how I go through the processes that I go through. So somebody from the outside looking in, considering starting real estate investing, seller financing, turnkey properties, using a real estate agent, they can see what actually goes into these negotiations. So I'm going to read it. If it's boring, you want to skip through it to the happy ending, by all means go ahead. But here's what I wrote to Michelle. After getting that message from my property manager, even though it was different from what she and I had chatted about earlier, I followed up with this. Michelle, I spoke with Vicky, who told me she talked with me. It sounds like everything was resolved until he decided to make one more change and now requests that the 4.9% interest rate be changed to a 5.2% interest rate. At this point, I'm confused as to what's happening. The original contract that was sent to me, signed by stated that 4.9% interest rate over 14 years with 20% down. And I was ready to sign and close. My only question was, what about the tenant security deposit? Mr. suggestion was to reduce the purchase price by the security deposit, which I happily agreed to. I also happily agreed to pay the taxes for the last 6 months, even though I will only be taking ownership of a property days before the taxes are due. I feel like I have done nothing but hold up my end of this deal and be agreeable to his requests. However, his terms and conditions have been changed every single time I have asked for clarification, which is concerning to me. I would like to buy this house under the terms and conditions that were originally offered by Ms. that we had agreed upon. And then I would like to buy the next house I have expressed interest in, 3501 Maryland, and hopefully many more houses in the future. But unless is willing to honor his original offer, the offer he chose to make that I accepted from the original contract he sent, I will not be purchasing any houses. I have cash and I'm ready to close on this property this week, provided I get the terms and conditions that were originally proposed back under contract. So then I write my terms right here. $34,900 purchase price minus the $750 security deposit. So $34,150 purchase, 20% down at $6,830, monthly payments at $215. I'll pay my first payment November 1st. I pay taxes due on the 10th, the land contract instead of open-ended, and I'll pay the title insurance and the search. This is what I will agree to. Please let me know yes or no. Now, I'm going to break down exactly what I did here in this negotiation because it's actually, I don't know, I'm thinking on multiple levels here. The reasons why I specifically phrased things a certain way and used certain verbiage here was very carefully thought out. So obviously, again, you have to be, if you're going to negotiate successfully, you have to be willing to completely walk away, which I was. Because if someone's not willing to honor their original deal, yes, I'm getting a good price on the house, as my property manager had mentioned earlier, but I don't want to do business with this type of person. If they're so desperate to make $7 a month that they're going to put the integrity of their business on the line by changing terms last minute, I don't want anything to do with that. But if I can at least get them to hold true to what they had earlier said, I'll consider it. And it really is a good deal. And I'll do a video about this rental and its cash flow and cash on cash return later. But for this, we'll keep this video a little bit shorter. Okay, so specifically over and over again, I mentioned he offered this deal. It was him that suggested these terms. I agreed to his terms. The reason I'm doing that is it's not me trying to change anything. It's not me trying to ask for a sweetheart deal. It's me holding his feet to the fire that he set, that he lit on fire, right? Hold true to what you've already agreed to, sir, and we won't have an issue. Another thing that I talk about very carefully in here, I'm ready to buy this house immediately. I have cash to close now. This deal can be done and over with as soon as you say the word. So why argue with me? Why give up on me for $7 a month to go resell it to somebody else, and who knows how long that's going to take? I'm ready to go right now, and I ended up wiring the money just a couple of days later. Next thing I do is, not only do I want to buy this house, but I want to buy another house, and I specifically listed the address. I'm already looking to buy this one. So why would you want to piss off a return customer, and potentially a much larger return customer, because I would love to buy as many houses from him as make sense for me. And then I go ahead and I'm very, very straightforward. Here are the exact terms that I expect to see. This is the purchase price. These are the terms. This is how much I'll pay each month. This is my interest rate. This is what I'm going to do. And then at the end, not let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you have any concerns. No, it's all on the table. It's going to be this or it's not. So I don't give them that out. I say, this is what I will agree to. Please let me know yes or no. They've got one answer to give me. It's either yes or no. And if it's a yes, we agree to everything, perfect, we can move forward. And if it's a no, fine, I'm on to something next. Right? This is how I chose to negotiate this. And my response was, wow, Mike, I'm so sorry. I had no idea. I will run this by Mr. back to you. He left at noon today. Would you please do me a favor and email me the original contract that you had got? So I said, no problem, I'll send that forward, and I did. The next day, I get a message back. Mike, I spoke with him this morning. He did not realize that he'd already signed the contract with you for this property. Mr. is not the kind of person that ever goes back on his word. So I found it very hard to believe that this was happening. But unbeknownst to him, he got confused with other investors we are also dealing with and did not realize it was for this house that he'd already made a deal on with you. One thing I know about him is he will always stand by his word and do what is right. He will honor the first contract that he signed with you. I've copied Vicky on this email, my property manager, so that she's aware and we can get this deal moving forward again. Completely possible that this is a complete misunderstanding, totally accidental. Maybe he wasn't trying to hard bargain on me, potentially, based on the experience my mentor has had with him buying, I think he's bought 4 houses and he's about to close on 5 more, or he's already bought 9 and about to close on 4. The point is my mentor has bought a significant number of houses from this guy. And he gave me the heads up that this guy's a hard bargainer. He's going to try to make sure that whatever he concedes benefits him, which is understandable. There's nothing wrong with that. Everybody wants to make money, but you have to defend yourself, and you have to be willing to walk away, and that's what I did in this case. You've already made these terms, and you already agreed to these terms. I've got a contract with your name signed on it. I just had a question, and now you're trying to change everything, which I don't understand why, but I'm going to hold you to your own word. Are you going to stand by the standard that you set? Yes or no? And it's even more beneficial as it goes through his staff, because now his staff's sitting there like, oh, well, shoot. I mean, he can't go back on this. He's already agreed to it. So he would have to look bad in front of his staff and himself. And again, could have been a complete misunderstanding. Maybe he really did confuse me with some other investors. Completely possible. The guy owns hundreds of houses and works with tons of different people. 100% possible. Or maybe he was trying to play a little hardball and it just didn't work with your boy, the duly elected sheriff of the internet. Ka-cha! So I'll be bringing you guys a video on actually the specific details and the cash on cash and the rental value and all that stuff on this house later. I just wanted to explain to you guys how negotiating an actual seller financing deal can go. And hopefully this video is beneficial or at least was entertaining. And if so, you know, the routine, please don't think about liking my videos. Don't subscribe. I don't want your pity. I understand that, you know, you might be saying to yourself, hey, can we watch some YouTube at the store? And then your mom looks at you and goes, no, we have YouTube at home. And I'm the YouTube at home. Well, we'll catch you next time.